I'm Karen.
And I'm Deb, and we're answering all your real estate related questions with the same thoughtful advice that we would give our best friends. Karen, what's today's question?
Today's question is, what's the truth behind online home valuations?
Karen, you know me well enough to know that online home valuations is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. And so I thought we could take this opportunity to kind of clear things up, or at least give my perspective, because I get people who just ask me straight up, why do you hate XYZ website so much? And this is not directed at any, Zillow has them, but all the big real estate company websites have them. There are even like iHomeEvaluation.com. There's all kinds of websites that have these home valuations. And I feel like they just direct people in the wrong direction. I, in fact, had a client years ago who walked away from a house that they really loved because a website told them that the value was this number. And I sent them all kinds of data to show that the value really wasn't that number. That number was really off, but they just refused to believe it and walked away from purchasing that home. So I want to, and especially in our market, we're talking about Monroe, Owen, Brown, Greene County, Lawrence County. We don't have a lot of standardized neighborhoods. I feel insulting when I say cookie cutter, so I don't mean it like that, but neighborhoods where there are only, 10 different floor plans and the siding is all similar and the vibe is all similar and the age is all similar. We have a very varied market, and that makes these home valuations very difficult because of how they do them.
Right.
And I told you I was just going to spew because I get real fired up about this. So forgive me if I don't let you talk at all. But
no, that's okay. I've just never heard of someone, maybe I have, where they're believing something that they're seeing online, even though there's disclaimers on a lot of those websites about how that's, information's gathered and such. But all right, continue.
And I guess I should say that's a really good point. Before you believe me and what I'm telling you, go to those websites and see that they've got all kinds of fine print that explain. And in fact, we all know Zillow is one of those websites. And so I'm not disparaging them. And in fact, I tell people search for homes on Zillow because I know you like the app. They have one of the best interfaces. That's fine. But there's a page in there that actually gives breakdowns by major metropolitan markets as to how far off their numbers are.
Yeah. And
they hit the number about, like, say 90% of the time within 20% of the actual market value.
Right.
20%. That's a huge variation. I mean, if you're looking at a $200,000 house, they could be $40,000 under or $40,000 over. We don't live in a market where, like, you've got that kind of leeway to try and negotiate and play around. You're just going to make the sellers mad if you come in, really low based on what an online home valuation or Schmestimate. We're going to call them Schmestimates, if you'll indulge me. I think that's easier. Anyways, so I always tell the story of when I first purchased my home, and I live out in the country, and I am surrounded by more expensive homes and I'm surrounded by less expensive homes. It's just that mix that we have out here in the country. When you are a homeowner, you can go on to a lot of these various websites and claim your home. And so I had gone on just out of curiosity to see what the value of my home was. I had just purchased it, and the value was much lower than I thought it should be as a real estate professional. And then I realized that a lot of the information that they had on my home, which is the information they're using to determine value, was incorrect. They had the square footage wrong. They had the number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms wrong. They had, like, we call it an effective age. So my house is 100 years old, but it's been updated. So electric's updated, roof's updated, plumbing's updated. So it's not like it lives like a 100-year-old house.
Right.
So they had all that information wrong. They were missing a pole barn, which adds some value as well. So I went and I claimed the home as the owner, and I made the changes so that that was reflecting accurate data. And then it lowered the value even more. And I was making changes that I felt like, as a real estate professional, they should increase my value, and it didn't. And now, and this has been going on now for 16 years. So I obviously need some therapy about it, but I get, once a month or so, an email from one of these websites that says, oh, the value of your home has changed by $1,256. Like, how can you even get that exact? The short answer is that I tell everyone, No one from any of those online sites has ever walked through my house. Has anyone ever been to your house?
No, but I had the similar thing happen as well. And I claimed my home on one of those, my prior home. They were missing about 1,500 square feet on mine. So I went in and, like you said, I updated it and I said how many bedrooms and bathrooms, but yeah, an entire 1,500 square feet. Like that's a small ranch. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing that I can just short answer is no one's ever been through your house. When you are purchasing a house, and many times when you're refinancing a house, the appraiser who's determining the value for the lender walks through the house. Gone are the days 20 years ago where they would do drive-by appraisals for the most part. They'd walk through the house, they give value to the things you've done to the house. So anyways, I thought that it might be interesting today. I've done this exercise every few years. I kind of will do this exercise for someone and show, here's a house that just sold. So we know what market value is. We know what someone is willing to pay for this house. And here's what some of these online estimators have said about the value. So we're going to play a little game and I'm going to have you guess. I know you hate when I do this to you.
Yes,
we used to do this on the podcast all the time. I'm like, I'm going to make you guess. And you're like, oh. I'm going to tell you what the home is sold for, and you're going to tell me if the online estimator thinks it's higher or lower. It's just going to be like Price is Right.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, here is our first example. This home sold just last week for $90,000. I have been inside this home. I can tell you that probably no online value estimators have been inside this home. Do you think that the online value estimators have it higher or lower?
All right.
And what it sold for.
See, now I'm looking at context clues by the picture. So, okay. This was probably, if it sold for 90, oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm going to say they have it higher.
Because 90 is really low for our market.
It is really low.
Yeah.
I've seen houses like that. I know this is a dated picture, but
so this is the history.
Okay.
That in November, so just 3 months ago, right? We're filming this in February, 2.5 months ago.
Okay.
An online estimator had it valued at $200,000.
Stop it.
And then it was listed in November after that 200,000, and it immediately dropped. The online estimator dropped to 140 because that was pretty close to what it was listed for. So then that was a red flag that, hey, our value must be off, right? Because they're always working it. I'll give them credit for that.
Yeah.
And then it dropped to, so the house was listed for 140. The online estimate dropped to 136. And now today it's estimated to be valued at 115. This one was just sold for 240. Higher or lower on an online estimator?
240, and I'm not going to ask any questions. So I don't know. I'm going to say it probably was lower. It's a cute house, but I'll say it's lower.
So in February, so last year, about a year ago, online estimator said it was worth 228. Okay. And then in May of last year, so what's that, 3-4 months after February, it shot up to 270. So it went from 228 to 270. You think our market varies that wildly?
No, I don't.
Not our market.
No.
Then in October, it went down to 260 and now it's at 252. That's a pretty wide swing. That's why I wanted to use this one to go from 228 to 252 with a 246. It's just all over the board. Am I making my point? So where do these numbers come from? I've kind of alluded to that a little bit with, they plug and chug things into a database, and where do they get that data from? Every time a home sells, this is what the problem is with my home, because as I said in the beginning, I'm surrounded by homes that are more expensive and homes that are less expensive, like literally from the range of single wide trailers down the road to, there's probably some $1 million pieces of property because there's some big pieces of land out here in the country. So Zillow is just like, okay, well, price per square foot on that is XYZ. And they plug it into their database and they apply it to everyone else. So recent sales is one place. And I know that you all in the lending world sometimes use some online value estimators too, not as the end all be all, but just as guides, where do you get your numbers from? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, when I worked at a bank previously, we used an online home valuation. I don't know what it was called, but a service. And I think that they're getting that data from the recorded sales in general, like recorded sales data that gets uploaded into whether it's our county system or local MLSs or surrounding ones. But I also think too that these other websites that also track home sales, they're also playing catch up with that data because it's not real time for them. They're getting everything delayed. So I think by the time, like in those examples that you showed us, by the time that they have that information, that's why their numbers look so skewed, whenever, we had that data a month ago, 2 months ago, or whatever. However their algorithms are set up to kind of, calculate those values.
So moral of the story is seek a professional. And if a professional is I really struggle. I get people that contact me and they say, well, I just need to know how much my home is worth. We're thinking about selling. Yeah. Like, I really need to see it. I just really hesitate to throw a number out there. I might throw a pretty wide range out there, but it's really difficult without seeing the inside because you don't know what the condition is, what updates have been done or haven't been done. Blood spatter on the walls. Like, who knows? I mean, there could be anything, and Zillow doesn't know that. And, all these other, online Schmestimates don't know what has gone on inside that home. And so you're really cutting yourself short if you're asking for a number without having that done. And luckily, as real estate professionals, we can do that and it doesn't cost you anything. It's not quite the same as a full-fledged appraisal, but I'm always happy to walk through, just take a quick 10-minute walk through someone's house, put my head to it, think about all the other homes I've been showing lately and how it compares and say, if I were to list this today, this is the price. And I always say that if I list it today, if you call me 6 months from now, I might give you a different number, and I reserve the right to do that because the market can change.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for putting up with my rant. I'm over. I'm off the soapbox. Done now. You trust your best friends to give you good advice.
So consider us your best friends in real estate. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like this video, and we will see you next time.